All right, in the immigration debate, the fate of so-called dreamers is still unclear as the country waits to see how the Trump administration will address their status. And that has many families on edge. CNN's Rafael Romo talks to a woman whose new Daca application has been denied and her work permit revoked.
Frederica, Jessica Collateral has for years been the face of the so-called dreamers, children of undocumented immigrants who were brought to the United States as minors by their parents. During the Obama administration, she was twice granted permission to stay in the country, but it appears immigration officials have new enforcement priorities under the Trump administration.
I did not expect this at all.
Jessica Collateral's days in the United States may be numbered. The federal government has revoked the status that allowed the undocumented immigrant to temporarily avoid deportation.
On Friday morning, that was last Friday morning, I realized that the USCIS had recently updated their website to say that my case had been denied, and I thought it was a glitch in their system.
The 28-year-old has been twice granted an immigration benefit known as Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. She says she applied for a second renewal in December, but when months passed without an answer, she began to wonder if something was wrong.
Not only was my DACA renewal denied, but my current work permit was terminated.
Jessica Collateral was born in Mexico. She was brought to the United States by her parents when she was 11 years old. The family had no legal status. She had been living a normal life and attending school until one day in the spring of 2010 when she was caught driving without a license.
Collateral, then 21, was stopped at Kennesaw State University north of Atlanta for a traffic violation. When she couldn't produce a valid driver's license, she was turned over to immigration authorities who put her in an Alabama detention center for 37 days. Her case made headlines, and her ordeal made her a central figure for immigration activists.
We can't figure out any other logical, common sense reason why this is happening.
Why do you think the government is moving forward with this case when they haven't done anything before or very little?
We think there's a possibility that they're looking to either, I don't know, make an example or try to see how they can look into valid DACA status and in terms of revoking the status of other individuals in a similar position as Jessica.
An immigration spokesman told CNN that about 1,500 DACA people have lost their deferred action status since 2012. He also said Jessica Collateral, an unlawfully present Mexican national, admitted guilt to a felony charge in August 2011 of making a false statement to law enforcement. Under federal law, her guilty plea is considered a felony conviction for immigration purposes. But her attorney contends there was never a guilty plea and is headed to court.
There has to be a formal plea of guilt before the judge. There has to be a formal finding of a conviction or a guilty plea by a jury, by the judge. There was none of that.
What do you say to people who say she is in the country illegally,
Right.
She doesn't have a right to be here anyways? What do you say to them?
Well, I was brought to the U.S. when I was 11 years old through no fault of my own.
Collateral's attorney has filed an emergency motion at the U.S. District Court of Northern Georgia. They expect a ruling within 2 weeks, a ruling that may determine whether she gets to stay in the country or not. Frederica, back to you.
So much, Rafael Romo.